This week on ICN, the stories you should have heard but didn't. Is the digital conversion of TV broadcast related to expanded use of RFIDs? U.S. Representative Alan Grayson becoming Washington's most feared congressman. Goldman Sach's market trading software stolen and may uncover tricks of the trade. When is a U.S. coin not worth the value printed on it? Those stories and more next on Informed Citizen News. Hello and welcome to ICN, Informed Citizen News, July 26, 2009. It may be alarming to hear that over 1.8 billion RFID tags were sold in 2005 alone. The exponential growth has led one ex-IBM employee to theorize that the television changeover from analog to digital is not just for entertainment, but is being used as a way to create the necessary bandwidth, which will be required to facilitate the introduction of RFID-tagged objects into everyday items. RFID-stamped items range from the obvious, like passports, to the not-so-obvious, such as personal body products like shaving blades. A Boycott Gillette website has been set up to protest privacy fears. The website attacks Gillette for setting up spy cameras that snap pictures of purchasers when the tag detects being taken off the shelf. Patrick Redmond, who worked at IBM for 31 years, says, "We won't even know we're wearing a tag, and that RFIDs can track our every movement." A conceit not lost on the U.S. military. The same kind of technology is now used in the battlefields of Iraq and Afghanistan to track wayward soldiers. Although privacy concerns loom over just how the RFID tags work to keep Marines safe. Also of note is that Walmart and the Department of Defense have been sharing best practices over the past 5 years for inventory management through RFID technology. Once again, big business in bed with big government. And it's quite unsettling. The Congressional Rookie of the Year Award has to go to Florida Representative Alan Grayson. Entering office for the first time in January of this year, he already has a YouTube highlight reel of his questioning sessions during congressional hearings. His list of victims include top Fed official Chairman Bernanke, Vice Chairman Fed Kohn, and a brutal questioning session with Fed Inspector General Elizabeth Coleman. Other notches on Grayson's belt are new AIG CEO Edward Liddy and Citibank CEO Vikram Pandit. Representative Grayson does have a political insider background, with degrees from Harvard and experience on the D.C. Court of Appeals. In 1990, he co-founded IDT Telecom and cashed out millions from its IPO in 1996. One can judge by his actions in his first 7 months in office that he has developed a reputation for being tough on those who appear before him during congressional hearings. If only we could get the other 500 in Congress to ask questions like he does, then we might have a chance to get this country going in the right direction. We have posted video links to each of the questioning sessions in the video description section to your right. Grab a bowl of popcorn and enjoy the show. The financial crisis over the past 2 years has one fundamental underlying issue that has yet to be addressed: the idea that a company is too big to fail. This week in the Financial Times, John Kay wrote an article titled, "Too Big to Fail? Wall Street, We Have a Problem." The title is a takeoff on the famous Apollo 13 quote, "Houston, we have a problem." Mr. Kay contrasted our financial system with space vehicle construction. Space vehicles are built knowing that there will be failure, but their modular construction will greatly diminish the possibility of a catastrophic failure. On Wall Street, apparently, the failure of one company can lead to a global meltdown. Congressional testimony from former Treasury Secretary Henry Paulson this past week described some of the discussions that went on last fall during the heat of the Wall Street implosion. At that time, there were concerns that the financial system would cease to function. The U.S. dollar would have no redeemable value. Food would not be delivered to stores as truckers could not be paid. Commerce would stop, resulting in a best-case scenario of the 1930s breadlines and worst-case scenario of total societal chaos. These were the topics of government conference calls last September. This is how fragile our society is. Just-in-time food supply chain, 95% digital currency system, dependency on power, water, gas, and fuel systems that are vulnerable to systemic failures. History has proven again and again, just when a society becomes complacent, it gets hit with what was thought to be the unimaginable. On July 3rd, Sergei Aleninkov was arrested by the FBI for stealing software code from Goldman Sachs. He is accused of improperly copying software codes that perform sophisticated, high-speed, and high-volume trades on various stock and commodity markets, as described by Goldman. According to Assistant United States Attorney Joseph Bacciapani, there is a danger that somebody who knew how to use this program could use it to manipulate markets in unfair ways. Or, a different interpretation of what the Assistant U.S. Attorney said was, if someone got a hold of Goldman Sachs market trading software, then someone other than Goldman Sachs could use it to manipulate markets in unfair ways. GATA, the Gold Antitrust Action Committee, has requested the SEC to investigate this software and Goldman's potential use to manipulate markets. The Goldman Sachs software code that performs sophisticated, high-speed, and high-volume trades on various stock and commodity markets brings up the question of market manipulation. The week before Alenikov's arrest, institutional stock trader Joe Saluzzi appeared on Bloomberg and described software trading programs and the creation of what he called fictitious volume. If you invest in the market, then you should watch this interview to see what you're up against. We have posted a link to the YouTube interview in our video description section. Mr. Saluzzi tells what we already know, that the market is driven by the big players on Wall Street. But he does share technical insight of how high-frequency trading can manipulate the market in traders' desired direction. Another confirmation that Wall Street is a rigged game, and the common investor is often just cannon fodder. In our June 28 broadcast, ICN reported that the U.S. government was trying to get personal information on online commenters. These people posted comments online in response to a Las Vegas Review news story from May 26th. The story was about a federal case against Nevada businessman Robert Kahre. Some online comments were abrasive and some alleged to be possibly threatening toward U.S. Assistant District Attorney J. Gregory Dam and the jury hearing the case. So what's the charge in this case? According to the government, Kahre and others concocted a fraudulent cash payroll scheme and then peddled it to other Las Vegas contractors. What was Kahre's scheme? He paid his subcontractors in gold and silver coins, then, using the face value stamped on the coins, determined their payments didn't pass the threshold for reporting to the IRS. For example, the U.S. Mint produces coins with a stamped face value, far short of its true market value. A 2009 1-ounce gold coin will have a $20 face value stamped on it. This coin will sell for more than $1,000 in the open market. Mr. Kahre would pay his employees the $20 face value of the coin, as created by the U.S. Mint. By claiming the payments on the face value of the coins, that withholding threshold was never met. So the IRS got irritated because no taxes were owed. In essence, Kahre manipulated the government's own laws to his and his contractors' advantage. And the big government boys and girls at Justice, and the IRS, and the thugs at the Fed didn't appreciate Kahre's imagination. This will be Kahre's second trial on essentially the same charges. The first last fall ended without a conviction, so justice lawyers dropped a few defendants, added one other, and reworked their charges. Not a true case of double jeopardy, as he wasn't acquitted the first time. But the big government boys and girls are so unhappy with him, they're taking a second shot. Thank you for joining ICN this week. We produce ICN so that it's easy for people to get the real news. Our goal is to give a taste of the real news so that it drives our viewers to educate themselves and others about what is really going on in this world. So please keep watching and spreading the word about ICN. From all of us at Informed Citizen News, have a great week.